Welcome back to another episode. Today we've got some more fried egg goodness, but as you can see, it's not a 996, it's the 996's sister car in the 986 Boxster. I'm here at Shorade Accident Repair, one of quite literally a handful of Porsche Recommended body repairers here in the UK. The guys are actually going to take a look at my own paintwork for another episode, stay tuned for that. But while we're here, we're going to be looking at this car, which first of all has a pretty awesome history, and it's got a pretty exciting future ahead of it as well, because this car is about to be transformed into a special one-of-one 25th anniversary edition Boxster that will be presented to the public in a matter of weeks. It's going to look very different to what it does now. Let's get in Steve Shore, CEO at Shorade Accident Repair, to discuss what on earth is going to be going on with this awesome fried egg project. Steve, CEO at Shorade, standing next to the Boxster 25. First of all, what is this project all about?
Yeah, so this project is being run by Porsche Cars Great Britain, and it's to celebrate 25 years of the Boxster. The idea is that this car will be painted and will look like the new 25th anniversary car.
Yeah, okay. It's going to be on display at an event.
Yeah, so it'll be on display at the Classic Car Show at the NEC'c in November. So it's the weekend of the 14th of November. So we've got 2 months to get this car ready, fully restored, stripped down and ready to go.
Are you worried, or it seems like not a lot of time to do quite a lot?
We've done a lot of projects with Porsche restorations over the years, and no matter how much time you've got, there's never enough time. But fortunately with this car, there's not too much work to do on it. Yes, it's got to have a full bare metal repaint, but the general car is good, so it's not as if we're plating cars or we're doing welding and stuff. So it's a pretty straightforward restoration job to do. I mean, if you remember the original concept Boxster, it was very much more rounded and more like a spider sort of shape than what the actual car looked like. But the original car was Arctic Silver, so it's going to stay in Arctic Silver. The only additions to the aesthetical look of the outside is we're going to be putting the original wheels that were used at the time, which were actually 964 split rim wheels. So we're going to use those, and again, from a colour differential on the 25th anniversary new Boxster, there's some gold accent parts as well.
Right, okay.
So basically it will get gold grills on the side as well, gold wheel centres, and we're also going to refurbish the calipers in gold as well. Okay,
so design-wise, it's going to take some cues from that original Boxster study of the mid-90s, and also the 718 25th anniversary car. Yeah. You have got a little bit of a kind of a personal interest in Boxsters anyway, more to do with the racing side.
I have. I've always loved Porsche, even from an early kid, I suppose. As most of us, we all had that picture of the 911 Turbo on our bedroom walls. I set myself a target of having a Porsche when I was 30. So back in 2000, I started looking for a Porsche. Now at that time it could have been a 964, 911, or obviously Boxster had just come out, and whilst you're still relatively young, you always want the newer car, don't you? So I plumped for a Boxster, not too dissimilar for this, Arctic Silver, black full leather interior, 2.5 manual box. So that's where my personal experience of driving the product sort of came into effect. And obviously I raced my own Porsche Boxster as well.
Can you believe it's 25 years then, I suppose, when you're looking at it like
can't. And like I say, you look back at it, that also started our relationship with Porsche as a brand. Yeah. That initial conversation, me going into the dealership, talking to the people, telling them what we did, started our role as a Porsche approved repairer. Yeah. Back in, we got approval in 2001. So again, it all started with this effectively. Yeah, okay. But to think all this time later, these cars are still on the road, they're still looking great.
You're no stranger to taking on special projects from Porsche GB then?
No, we've done a few over the years. It all started with 50 years of Porsche. So we did a bare metal restoration on a 964. Now again, at the time, 964 has always sort of been the sort of ugly ducklet nobody really liked. But again, spending 12, 18 months stripping this car down and making it perfect, we all had a love for the car at the end of it. That won overall winner from all the other Porsche centres that did the projects as well. Yeah. So that was very pleasing for us to think that Porsche had appreciated obviously the work that we'd done. Great experience of stripping the car down, working with the older cars, fixing things that don't work, finding parts that that were hard to find. For me, it's not just a job. We have well, all my guys who work on Porsche, who are Porsche approved, they love the product as well, so it's more than just a job for us.
Spot on. Well, look, this is going to be a really exciting project to watch and follow. Would you mind explaining, just before I let you and the team get started on the car, the exact process of like what's going to happen? So is it going to be going back to metal, like bare metal? Or?
Yeah, it is. So a bit of history about the car first of all. This car has stayed in Porsche's ownership from day one. It was originally used in one of the James Bond films. It's a 1996 car. So super early. Super early car. I think it's chassis number 301. So it's an early car. Left-hand drive, Tiptronic. So not the best gearbox, but equally it still does a good job. So yeah, they've owned the car throughout. It has been used as a training car at some point in its life at Porsche Reading. And it's picked up a few little battle scars and a few bits of refinishing along the way.
It is looking a little bit unloved in a couple of places.
Yeah.
Like.
So first thing we do is we check the car all over to make sure everything works, because the last thing you want to do is at the refit stage start to try and find things to work and it never actually worked in the first place. So first thing we'll do is do a full 360 of the car underneath as well, check everything to make sure everything works. Do the lights work? Does the apertures open? Does the electric hood roof work? All those little bits and pieces that it's going to save us a lot of time at the end. Once we've done all that and we're happy with it, then obviously we're going to start to strip the car. So from a repaint perspective, what we like to do is we'll never leave anything on, we'll never leave any trims on.
Okay.
So from our perspective, everything that bolts off the car or can bolt off the car will come off. So what we're talking from a panel perspective, we're talking bumpers, we're talking bonnet, we're talking wings, doors, rear hood, rear boot lid, rear bumper. Screen is going to come out because obviously we don't want a mask around the screen aperture.
Okay, yeah.
So once all the panels are off the car, we're sort of left with a rolling shell, which ultimately is just going to be the sill and the quarter panel. The parts then will then go to the prep shop, where they will flat the panels down and bare metal them.
Okay.
Because this car has had some additional paint work, we don't know the quality of that, and we don't know what we're dealing with.
So
for us, we take it all the way back to bare metal. We'll then, once that's done, any dents or anything like that will then be repaired. Then it'll be epoxy primed, which gives it that level of protection before it's then two-pack primed.
Yeah. Okay.
The two-pack primer is then flatted, and then obviously at the final stage of it, it all then gets painted.
Awesome. I love a paint project, as I imagine you do too. Maybe before you go, you'll be able to point out a couple of bits and pieces on the car that you've found particular points of interest of its dishevelled state.
So we can see from the front end of the car, it's had previous paint work. We can see some imperfections in the paint. It's quite a heavily orange peel effect, which tells us it's sort of pulled in. Now this could be how it's been dried, it could be the process itself. Generally, a certain amount of orange peel can be polished up, flat and polished up, as so can the dust inclusions in it. But this is quite particularly bad. It's had some work on the sill panels, and the reason we can see that is because under the wheel arches there's some silver paint on the plastic arch liners. But again, generally as you look around the car, as the light catches it, you can actually see filler scratches. You probably won't be able to pick it up on camera, but as you see, you can actually see the scratch lines in the panels, and obviously the dust inclusions and the roughness of the paint. But other than a few dents around the panels, this is generally a good clean car. So there's not too much work we need to do. The main thing is obviously we get all the paint off so we know what we're working with underneath. For us, we don't like putting filler in cars. So when people say the car's got filler in it, yes, everything has to have a layer of polyester stopper, but filler being a centimetre thick, whatever, that doesn't happen. So literally the polyester stopper is there just to smooth it out.
The hood as well, you mentioned that's just going to be replaced outright. I've noticed a tear in the back.
So the idea is that obviously this car's got terracotta trim. So originally there would have been a terracotta option for this, or a red roof as they call it.
Yeah.
But that's obsolete now. So if we can't get a trimming specialist to make us one, then we'll revert to putting a new black hood on it.
Okay.
But again, the process of that is obviously stripping it all down, folding it all over.
Yeah.
Again, all of these processes is training that my guys have particularly had over the years on the various models.
Yeah.
So obviously at the time, obviously 986 and 996 cab were quite a popular roof to replace.
Yeah.
And obviously in the later Boxsters, they obviously then went to the glass back screen.
Okay, awesome. Steve, thanks for showing us around the car.
My pleasure.
We'll let you get on.
Thank you.
And with that, the team got stuck into Project Boxster 25, turning the wheels on this derelict 986 for the first time in years before preparing it for a thorough check over and strip down. The results are going to be spectacular, and you can see the outcome of this transformation coming soon in part 2, where we'll reveal the finished car ahead of its public debut at the NEC'c Classic Motor Show on November the 12th. Watch this space.